Nia Malika Henderson, David Gergen, CNN senior political analyst, contributors Selena Zito and Hillary Rosen, and political commentators Kevin Madden and Alice Stewart. Good evening to all of you. Nia, you first. Hillary Clinton is speaking out tonight, speaking at the LGBT Community Center dinner in New York just a short while ago, and she sounds feisty.
I think we have to face the fact that we may not ever be able to count on this administration to lead on LGBT issues. Let's remember 2018, the midterm elections. We can never stop fighting. We need to dedicate these next years, the next 2 years, the next 4 years, and beyond, to supporting people and organizations that are advocating for the best of American values around the world, here at home. And we also have to win elections to make it clear where our country stands. We need to resist, insist, persist, and enlist, and make sure our voices and our votes count. So we're going to keep fighting together, side by side, for equal rights, and we're going to make sure that nobody turns the clock back on what we have achieved as Americans.
So Nia, she's kept a low profile since the election so much. She's been coming out lately, but now, I mean, it seems like she's going to take a higher profile. Do you think we're going to hear more from her going forward?
Probably so. I mean, what she was saying there, I mean, it could have been ripped from her campaign speeches. And you see now the Democratic Party are really at war with itself. What wing should be the dominant wing of the party? Is it the Bernie Sanders wing, or is it the Obama-Clinton wing of the party? I think what will be interesting to see, she talks there about 2018, she talks there about 2020. I think the question right away is, will she be out there? Like, if you were Jon Ossoff down in Georgia running in a district that Hillary Clinton almost won, lost by 1 point to Donald Trump, is Jon Ossoff someone who will ask Hillary Clinton to come down there, raise money for him, or be on the stump? I think that's kind of the immediate question, how she can be most helpful to the party, and whether or not people who are running in these races think she can be helpful.
Don't you think that people are asking, at least Hillary Clinton supporters, where was that feistiness, that energy during the campaign?
I'm sure they are, but I mean, that's the thing, right? At this
Kevin,
point,
you were thinking that, right?
Yeah. Look, I think this is terrible news for Democrats. The Democratic Party right now is going through a transition, and they have to get out from under the weight of Hillary Clinton. 2016 did not work out for them. There's a realization of that. And if they're going to move forward, they can't have the voices from the past serving as the main thing that's shaping the profile of the party. So, you know, there are leaders inside the Democratic Party that are trying to break out right now. Having Hillary Clinton out there, all she's going to do is energize so many Republicans, even Republicans out there who may not be happy with Donald Trump right now. They will see Hillary Clinton, and that will unify Republicans at a time where Democrats, if you look at Kansas and you look at Georgia, those special elections, they're very energized right now.
Yeah, David,
you know, I'm sorry, everything is not about elections. I love you guys, but this is not only about an election. One of the first things that Donald Trump did when he became president was let the Justice Department take away protections for kids, for transgender kids. You know, this conversation that Hillary Clinton is having tonight in New York is about fighting back on policy, not standing it, not taking it. Is she the
right person to deliver that message, Hillary?
It doesn't matter because people have ignored the issue. You know what? So if Hillary Clinton is the one who will be out there reminding people at the Senate dinner where she was their senator for many years, and, you know, she has as much right to be there as anyone does, like, I'm okay with that.
That's great.
I just think that we can't make everything be about an election.
Elections are how you litigate policies, Hillary.
No, you don't. Sometimes you have to fight back right there, not for 2 more years. We have 2 years of damage that this president and Congress are doing to kids, to LGBT folks, to women. And you know what? We have to fight back now. We have to talk about it now. We can't be putting everything in context of 2018. And I think the fact that Hillary Clinton's talking about that, like, more power to her. I'm not worried about whether she's our next candidate or our best representative. She won't be. But now we have a problem.
David, should she be? Go ahead. I'll let you finish, Kevin, and I'm going to get the other guests in. I know you want to respond. Go ahead, Kevin.
I said no one disagrees with that, but the fact that she is going to essentially be shaping the profile of the party individually, that does matter to those people that are trying to litigate those policies.
Okay. David, there are a lot of people who believe that she should just sort of ride off into the sunset. There are those who believe, like Kevin is saying, maybe she's not the right person to be delivering this message, especially for Democrats if they want to win going forward.
I respectfully disagree with Kevin. I may be wrong, but in my sense, it's a false choice between whether she ought to be out there supporting rights for gays or energizing Democrats for the elections in 2018. What the Democrats need to do is to seize on some issues now and in the next few months that are really central to who they are as a party and run on those issues in 2018. They can't simply run an anti-Trump campaign which has stale ideas. And I believe that Hillary Clinton can be a piece of that. There are a lot of women in this country who really still believe in Hillary, think she was robbed for one reason or another, and are more likely to be out there if she's out there. That does not preclude, I don't know why having Hillary on television one night in the last 3 weeks precludes a lot of other Democrats for stepping forward and putting their views out there. The hard part for the Democrats is going to be sustain the kind of enthusiasm they have right now, and they need some issues and a number of surrogates to carry that message. And the Clintons will be very good at doing that.
Selena, she did win the popular vote, regardless of some people think she should ride off into the sunset. Most people in this country voted for Hillary Clinton. Maybe they do want to hear her voice.
Well, I always think it's interesting to me throughout our history what the loser of the presidential race does, because in a lot of ways what they decide to do shapes the party. So Mitt Romney went away. He lost. You didn't hear from him for 3 years. The same for Al Gore. But Clinton has been throwing out hints that she plans to be part of the discussion. Even if she's not running, she plans to sort of continue to express her platform and the things that she thinks is important. Now, she was talking about LGBT rights this evening. You know, it would be interesting to me to see if she picks different, other components, economic components, climate components, to see, what her overall message is to be, what she wants it to be for the party.
Alice, I want to hear from you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the secret would be for Tom Perez, the head of the Democratic Party, would be to try as much as he possibly can incorporate the Bernie Sanders wing of Democrats as well as the Hillary Clinton and the Barack Obama. That's the secret recipe for success, and that way they would be able to continue to push their message leading into 2018. What we saw in Georgia in the CD6 race is we saw not necessarily a referendum on Trump, but the Republican that won, Karen Handel, she didn't embrace Trump fully. She didn't fully support him. She said, look, I will go to Washington, I will be a conservative, but I will be a check on Barack Obama. And that's what people, at least Republicans, want. And so Ossoff was smart to make this more of a national campaign and a referendum on Donald Trump. And that's what we're going to see, I think, in a lot of these races across the country, and certainly in 2018. It's going to be a check on Donald Trump.
I want to move on and talk about this. Sarah Palin, one of the president's earliest backers, is in the news tonight. Again tonight, she was invited to the White House for dinner, posted photos, including this one, posing with Ted Nugent and Kid Rock in front of the portrait of Hillary Clinton. Do you think that was disrespectful, Hillary?
Well, I think it's classless, but I don't think anyone cares that much. Look, if Donald Trump wants to turn the White House into sort of the D-list of Celebrity Apprentice, I guess he got the right to do that when he was elected president. But I don't, I don't think it exactly endears a significant portion of the country to him. But I don't really think he cares about that, nor do I think Sarah Palin cares about that.
David Gergen, I want to get your take on it. Do you think that there was disrespect? Because here's the thing. Ted Nugent called President Obama a subhuman mongrel. He talked about shooting the former House Speaker, Harry Reid. He called Hillary Clinton a worthless bitch. The thing is, was this classless? Should he be invited to the White House and included in that picture?
I don't think there's anything wrong at all for Donald Trump to have people like that in the White House. I do think it shows it's clearly a sign of disrespect. You know, they were sneering, Sarah Palin was sneering at her in the photo. It was intentional. One of the party members thought they ought to give their index finger, each one of them all hold that, and they thought maybe that went too far. But they clearly were having fun at her expense. I think it's inappropriate in the White House. However, you know, I think Hillary's right. We shouldn't go too far with this. After all, the Trump people do have an argument that the Saturday Night Live and other institutions have been skewering him for weeks. They give him no respect whatsoever. And after all, if it's the Clintons, did Bill Clinton always show utter respect for the White House? Not in the minds of a lot of conservatives. So I think this is best a one-day. I hope it's a one-day story and we move on to more important
David,
things.
There's a difference between SNL
coming out of the White House.
There's a difference between SNL and calling the President of the United States a subhuman mongrel.
That was totally out of bounds.
Yeah,
let's be clear about that. Again, his language has been horrific. You know, he said a lot of things that, you know, that have just shouldn't be out there in public print. And I agree with the point. He's not a classy guy to have in the White House, but does the president have a right to invite whoever he wants in there? Yeah, and that's how a lot of people, rich people, get in there. You may not like very much, but they're important to the president's, you know, political life.
Sarah Palin was on with my colleague Jake Tapper earlier. Here's what she said.
Well, President Trump had called to invite just to touch base, so asked me to get to D.C. and we'd be able to chat over dinner, and asked if I'd invite a couple of friends.
So you brought Kid Rock and Ted Nugent?
Jesus was booked. So, yes, I invited my buddies, Kid Rock and Ted Nugent, some bold, courageous, all-American dudes who I knew would have good conversation with the president and get to express a lot of good middle-class, work ethic type issues and policy proposals that they could all relate to, and that's exactly what happened at the dinner.
There's an interesting picture of the three of you out right next to the portrait of former First Lady Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I think the picture says it all.
So, first of all, she said all-American dudes, Nia, and middle-class values. Last time I checked, Ted Nugent was wealthy. Kid Rock is wealthy. Sarah Palin as well. So what do you think of what Sarah Palin had to say?
You know, I think this is a fitting photo. In many ways, I always thought that Sarah Palin was Donald Trump before Donald Trump was Donald Trump. I mean, she was the original populist. She was the one who was on Facebook and using social media way before Donald Trump was, and I think he kind of stole her playbook. So I think it's fitting that she's there, and that crowd there, right? Ted Nugent, as well as Kid Rock, that kind of, kind of rocker and populist, ethos. That's something that I think, and even sort of the disrespect, right, to Hillary Clinton there, that's something that obviously a lot of conservatives can relate to, and something that I think Donald Trump picked up on as well. So I think it's pretty fitting.
Here's what Pete Souza. Pete Souza, who's President Obama's official photographer, later tweeted this photo of President Obama with William Daley, his chief of staff, writing, "Be respectful." Are the president's aides giving him good advice on things like this, Alice?
Well, I think with regard to the photo, I mean, there was nothing that could have been done about that. I was able to spend a few minutes with Sarah Palin today and talking about that. And she says the dinner itself was good, the conversation was nice, and, you know, the two of them, Kid Rock and Ted Nugent, they were pretty involved in the presidential campaign. Ted Nugent also, if you recall, was supportive of Ted Cruz for quite some time. So they had a good, respectful conversation. As far as the picture, yeah, they have very outspoken views on Hillary Clinton. They are very strong and supportive of Second Amendment rights, and that's a big issue that they all share in common. All four of them do. So yeah, they have a different way of expressing themselves, and whether or not they should have done it in front of Hillary Clinton's portrait is up for discussion. Kevin, but that's who they are.
Kevin, do you think it would have been this big a deal?
Who they are.
You think this would have been as big a deal had they just taken a picture of the dinner where she said they had a great conversation instead of?
No, I mean, look, I think let's not overanalyze or try to rationalize this too much. I think this is a president who just likes and feels comfortable around celebrity, and those are three celebrities who are in the White House. And it's also a reflection of just how this information goes viral. I mean, look, we've heard stories about, Willie Nelson smoking a joint in the White House. That's a story that is of legend, right? Because it was told by Willie Nelson and then it was passed on. Nowadays, with social media and the way you have these pictures go viral, I mean, Willie Nelson would have live streamed that. I think I just think we should not try to overanalyze.
I've got to run, but Kevin, you're always a voice of reason. He likes being around celebrities, and that's a very astute point. I think I got to run, but we'll be right back. Go ahead, David. Just quickly.
I just was going to say it's Richard Nixon had Elvis Presley in there, and that was quite a scene. But I think it's really telling that the same day, the last 24 hours, Ted Nugent had been in, that Kid Rock has been in. This is the same day that is the cultural gulf in the country. President Trump, standing with the Italian leader today, said, praised Pavarotti. And said, he's a good friend of mine, very good friend of mine. Pavarotti's been dead for a decade.